the emptiness of that mind is exactly the same as the emptiness of this mind. It is the ultimate nature of things. It's a negative thing. It's not a positive thing. It's not a thing, even though we use a thing like a word to describe it. Okay, so it's not something you can grab. In fact, you can't even be in this body to experience it. Yeah, it's not a conceptual thing. So
why is it uncaused?
Yeah, why is it uncaused?
Because it's a lack of something.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like you said, it's not a thing. It's like unmanifest space.
Yeah. I just don't want to go into depth with that because we've got a whole course on it. But that's good enough, I guess. Yeah. Spontaneous is the other thing.
What was the first one?
The first one was uncaused, and which relates to the Dharmakaya, which
the eight what?
8 qualities of the Buddha. Jewel. Spontaneous, the Buddha spontaneously appears, and the way you think about this is when you have, it's that analogy that I mentioned last week, where if you imagine a night, a perfectly still, clear night on the planet, and every single body of water on that night was reflecting the moonlight, and the moon was the Buddha, and every space of water, even the water of your eye, the liquid in your eye, reflects perfectly the moon, then the Buddha spontaneously appears to every being that is ripe and ready, as if it were any body of water on the planet. So if you think about it that way, it's not like the Buddha says, Cliff is close to reaching enlightenment right now. He's having a moment of true renunciation about now, 6 p.m. or whatever it is, 9:26 p.m. I better appear as the air conditioning making a funny noise. Yeah? So then he can move on to that next level of realization. It's not like the Buddha sitting there calculating all of our, it's spontaneous. He's experiencing wherever a being is ripe, that being is seeing an emanation of them as a reflection of the moon on any water surface on a clear night. Sorry?
10,000 dewdrops, have you heard that?
No, I haven't.
It's like the moon, like on a field at night, and you have the grass, and it's 10,000 dewdrops, and the moon is reflected perfectly in each
one. Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So that's one of the qualities. He's spontaneous. The next quality is realized by no other way. Realized by no other way. This means you can't perceive him through regular perceptions. And if this was true about the nominal Buddha, the Shakyamuni Buddha, then the poor disciples wouldn't have been able to see him. So it's not about that. It's not about being able to perceive him as a nominal thing. What is it that we can't perceive through nominal perception? It's his emptiness. It's his Dharmakaya again. Okay? And those three, so the first three of these 8 are about benefit to himself. The next are benefit to others. And he is knowledge, love, and power are the next 3. These are the qualities. He has the quality of having knowledge and love and power. And knowledge here means his awareness of our condition. And because he's aware of our condition, this cyclic existence that we call suffering, samsara, then the next quality of love arises in him. So he cares. He has the impulse to want to help us with love, ultimate love, bodhicitta. Yeah? Which then that would be pointless if he didn't have any power at all to help us. Now he has no power to remove that from us directly, But what power could he have? A Buddha have? To teach. Yeah. So he has the power to do something upon that love that they felt and that knowledge of our condition is to teach, to put the things in place in front of us, to provide, like that moon reflecting, to appear in every essence. That's why we ask them to please appear in whatever way necessary it is for us when we're ripe to experience that nature, that Buddha-ness. Yeah, and then the last two fulfills both the needs, his and ours, mine and his.
What is the need of a Buddha? I read that. I didn't get what is it?
Well, before he became a Buddha, he needed to get out of suffering. So he's totally fulfilled his needs as a being to not be in the cyclic existence any longer. So he's done. He's out. Thank you very much. I'm blissed out. And ours through teaching. Yeah. So good question though, because it's funny because I hadn't even thought about it from the Buddhist point of view as a Buddha. I thought, you know, so as that mind stream's point of view, fair enough. So he's achieved his removal of his own suffering, you know. But when I read this, my question was, well, he didn't fulfill mine. You know, like I'm still sitting here. You know, so I looked at it in different time. So did he or did he not perfect mine and yours? That's the question I want to ask you. If the eighth quality is that he's fulfilled, the seventh, he's fulfilled his own needs, or let's say their own needs, because there are chick Buddhas as well, and they're pretty hot. What about my needs? Your needs? Have they fulfilled my needs? I'm 80. But the quality says that he has.
But
what does it mean?
He's taught you, he's giving you the tools, but he can't force the karma.
Yeah, correct. So he is fully and always available. This thing, Buddha, is available constantly. It just needs 1,000 years to be reflected of.
Sun behind clouds.
Yeah, and so they are always available and ready for whenever your state of mind is ready to move that cloud away or still that water, they will appear for you. But you can't, you have to cause it. You need to put in place the things to remove the cloud, to still the water, to allow that thing to shine. So in that sense, is totally available. Next week, which is, let's see, do I have time to do it now? Maybe. I'm going to quickly give you, because it might be a question in your homeworks, why take refuge at all? And in the short term, for this life, because there's no better protection. Every other protection fails you in this life. Because it runs out. Yeah, and I don't want to do it just to depress you. I want you to just look at the next old person who's struggling to walk, and then think that you'll be there if you're lucky. And long term, why would you take refuge in the long term? If in the short term it can help you overcome all the yuckiness of this life, what would be the long term? Why go for refuge? Huh?
To help other beings.
To help other beings is one, but then that leads you to ultimately to Buddhahood. Right? It's actually the first of the steps is renunciation. It leads you to being able to practice and have an experience of your consciousness of your world, to shift not just for this one life or this type of experience or this year or the rest, but to actually shift your consciousness such that you can perceive yourself as being a being like that of the moon, reflecting on every surface. If your mind is capable of shifting, if your mind is capable of improving, why should it have a limit on how it improves? Why can't it cover every object in the universe in a blissful way? What would it be to be a perfected state of mind? So it would be to reach a state of Buddhahood. And you do it by taking refuge. It also, as a subset of that, it allows you to take vows, which means, we can talk about it next week because it's time. I'm going to cut it there. Any questions? The eighth one?
Yeah.
Was? Anyone? Fulfills 7 and 8 was fulfills both of our needs. Yeah. Mine and his. So let's, if you've done any thinking today that helps you reevaluate how much effort you're going to put into your next activities, and you're going to do whatever activities you're going to do next week, you're going to do them anyway. But which of these 5 motivations will you apply to them? Because that'll cause something in your mind. So you make a choice, and you have to make a deliberate effort to level up your level of motivation for experiencing the things you're going to experience. Do the same things you're going to do, but do it with a different motivation. You get a slightly different result. Better, bigger, greater. Chempo. Ukir Geshe Metotram Riralin Chin Empati Sange Shindir Miteguargi Drogun Namda Shinla Jipansho Idam Guru Ratnamandala Kamninyatayami Digokum Sunam Yeshe Soksokshin Sunam Yeshe Legendwe Nampa Kuni Droparsho. Just imagine that being, that future you, that Buddha you, sitting in the crown of your head, entering your crown and moving down towards your heart in front of your spine, and just sitting there in a pocket at the level of your heart. Try and feel what it would be like to have that state of mind growing inside of you as you walk out into the New York world. Thank you.
Did everyone sign in? And also,